Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a video I don't think I've ever done on my channel before. I want to do a full face of classic makeup. So makeup products that have been around for a long time, things that are definitely not new. They've been around for years, things that most people that love makeup, that have been wearing makeup, or just a makeup lover in general would know these products. I wanted to do a full face of those things today, and what inspired this video was actually something I bought during Black Friday, and it is such an old product, but I've never tried it. So this I would definitely consider a classic product. I bought this during the Sephora Black Friday sale, the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. I cannot believe I've never tried this. Years ago, I owned the original Naked palette. I got rid of mine, and it still makes me mad to this day that I got rid of it. I really don't know why I did that. I never had this one though, and I don't know what came over me, but I just really wanted to try it. These were 50% off for Black Friday. So that's kind of what inspired this video. So I went through my collection and picked out a bunch of classic products, and we're gonna do a full face today. And if you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on YouTube. I hope you'll stick around and subscribe, and let's get started. I don't own a primer that I think is like a classic primer. The only thing I could really think of would be like Benefit Professional or something like that, but I don't own that. So we're just gonna skip primer. I don't even know, have primers always been a big thing? I'm not really sure. So we're gonna skip primer. We'll move on to color corrector. For me, it had to be original Bobbi Brown. I think of all the color correctors that I own, that has to be the one that's been around the longest. They also make the stick version, but that one is much newer. That has only been out a few years. This I know has been around a long time. So we're gonna use this today in shade Bisque. I think this is definitely one of those products that's been around and people still like it. I feel no one has ever done correctors better than Bobbi Brown, just for the shade range alone, honestly. Because typically color correctors, you don't get, a lot of brands will do like 2 shades, maybe 4 or 5 at the most. I want to say Bobbi Brown has like 12 maybe even more than that, maybe 14 or 15. I don't think there's ever been a brand that had more than that. I'm just using my finger to blend this, or to tap this in under my eye. For foundation, the first one that came to mind is Estee Lauder Double Wear, but I don't own that foundation. I did a few years ago, but I haven't owned it for a little while. The only one that I have is Estee Lauder Sheer, Double Wear Sheer, and I don't think that's like an OG formula. I feel like the Sheer was definitely newer than the original Double Wear. So we're gonna go with this, because to me, in my collection, this is the most classic foundation. I'm not sure how long Armani Luminous Silk has been around, but I know it is a classic for many people, many makeup artists. So we're gonna go with this. I'm gonna use shade number 5, which I think should be a pretty good match for me. Let me know if you can think of products that you would consider classics. Comment them in the comments, because I'm curious. People that are older than me probably know about products that I don't know about. So let me know what you think. What products do you consider classics? Okay, I am gonna blend this in with my Sigma brush. This is the F80. This one was one of the limited edition ones with Cinderella, so it has a cute blue handle. I'm trying to think as I sit here of another foundation that I would consider a classic that's been around for a long time. Bare Minerals, I guess. I could have done Bare Minerals today. Bare Minerals, the original powder foundation, that's been around for a long time, I know. And I get what is left on the back of my hand and add just a little bit more. I'm trying to think of something else. I feel like I'm forgetting another classic foundation. Maybe the Revlon, what is the original Photo Ready? Is that right? Photo Ready foundation? I don't know. I don't own anything else that I would consider classic, but let me know what you think. I just thought of another one, Clinique Even Better. I'm pretty sure that's been around for a really long time. Let me know what else you can think of. For concealer, the one I thought of was NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Again, I don't know how long this has been out, but I know it's been out a long time. And I know many people swear by this concealer and still do to this day. I haven't used mine in a while, but we're gonna use these today. I have 2 shades here. I also thought of the MAC Pro Longwear concealer, the one that's in the little glass bottle. I have never owned that concealer, but I know that's a classic for a lot of people. I'm trying to think of another concealer that would be considered classic. I know when I really started getting into YouTube, Shape Tape was obviously a huge thing. That I wouldn't really consider that a classic though, just because I know that hasn't been around a super long time, but it was also a very iconic product, you know? Okay, so I have Creme Brulee under my eyes, and then I like the shade Madeline for my face because it typically matches my face really well. The Armani foundation gives decent coverage, but I want a little bit more. So I'm just gonna add Madeline right here. It's so interesting to think about makeup in like a classic way because nowadays makeup comes out literally every day. It seems like products are launching, and it's really interesting things that have come out and they've stayed around, you know, like things that don't come out, they're popular for like a year and then you never hear about them again. I feel like that's actually very iconic when something like that happens with makeup now, because there are always so many new products, you know? Okay, under my eyes, I'm gonna use the BK Beauty A506, which is the little kitten paw brush. This is a great concealer. It is definitely one that I like to really let sit on my on my skin in general before I blend it in. I find this concealer does really well. It's not one that sits and sets really quickly. You really have a lot of time to let it kind of warm up on your skin, and you get the most coverage that way too. I feel like there have to be other concealers too that I'm forgetting. I don't know. I wasn't into makeup as much when I was younger. I really didn't get into it until I was in college. So, and my mom didn't wear a lot of makeup, so she still doesn't to this day. So I didn't learn or know a lot about makeup from her really. So I don't know. If you have something that's been around, let me know. Okay, let's move on to powder. I feel like the obvious choice here has to be Laura Mercier translucent powder. I know this is for sure a classic for many people. I'm trying to think if there's another powder that's been around. Let me know. This is the thing I thought of immediately when I was picking a powder. And we're gonna use a powder bronzer today, so I want to make sure I really set, or just lightly set my face just to make sure it doesn't apply patchy or anything. I have to say this is a product that I have just kind of gotten back into in the last year or so. I pulled out this little mini, and I have to say I didn't even realize how much I like this product until recently. I mean, it's just a great loose powder. I have not tried the new version, I think it's called the Ultra Blur version, but I know Martina Lily, my friend here on YouTube, I know she likes the Ultra Blur version. So let me know if you've tried that. All right, for bronzer, I had to go with NARS Laguna. I know this has been around a long time. I'm sure there are things that have been out longer, but for me, when I think of a classic bronzer, this is the one that I think of. In fact, when I first started getting into makeup, I want to say this is the first product I ever bought from Sephora. And I remember I thought it was just the coolest thing that I had a NARS bronzer. And I remember I had it and I want to say I traveled with it. I went somewhere and I took the NARS bronzer with me and it shattered. And I remember I was devastated that that bronzer shattered. I mean, I had used up a lot of it, so it wasn't like a full bronzer, but I just remember being devastated that I had shattered it because it was like one of my prized possessions. I still remember that. But I feel like NARS Laguna is just, it's good. It's classic for a reason. It's beautiful color. And, you know, they've since expanded and made different versions of Laguna for different skin tones, which is great. But NARS, just the original, I feel is just a classic. I guess Hoola from Benefit would also be considered a classic. Let me know if there's something else that you can think of. All right, for blush, again from NARS, Orgasm from NARS. I feel when I think of classic blushes, I think of this. The only other thing I kind of thought of, but I feel like this has been around longer, is Milani Luminoso, which is almost identical to this. It's a very, very similar color. So I almost picked that, but I feel like this is more of a classic when you think of a classic blush. But I feel like there's more for sure. So let me know a blush that you think is classic. I mean, I love this blush. It's such a pretty peachy pink with some radiance to it, which is really pretty. I'm trying to think of another blush that has been around for a long time. I don't know, my mind kind of went blank on blush, but I feel like I'm forgetting something really important. Let me know. For brows, the only thing I could think of that I own that I know has been around for a while, I don't know that it's been around a super long time, is this. This is a newer product to me, but it's not new. The brow powder from Anastasia. So this is the oldest or the most classic brow product that I know of that I own. So I'm gonna go with this, but I'm sure there are things that I don't know about that are brow products that have been around a long time. So let me know. As I've said in literally every single video, I'm obsessed with this product. This will definitely be around a long time for me because I just love, every single time I do my brows now, I'm just happy with how they look, and I definitely think it's from using this powder. I use the shade medium brown. I mainly use the dark shade in here. I don't really use the light shade except for this very, very inner part of my brow. I'll use that there. All right, before we move on to the eyeshadow, I just realized I have another product. This is the Mineralize Skin Finish from MAC in Soft and Gentle. I feel like this is definitely a classic. Yeah, so pretty. This is such, I feel like this is another thing when I first started getting into makeup. I want to say this is one of the first things that I bought. So I would just hear people talk about it all the time. It's so pretty. Okay, let's move on to eyes. Of course, the MAC Paint Pot. I feel like absolutely a classic product. I don't know how many years this has been around, but I know it's definitely been around a very long time. So I'm gonna apply this all over. This one is the shade Painterly, but I know so many of these are popular. Soft Ochre is really popular. What else? Lay and Low. Such a good product, and honestly mine is really old, but it still works, so I'm still using it. All right, let's move on to the product that inspired this video, which is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. I cannot believe, I don't know why I never owned Naked 3. I don't know. And why did they keep Naked 3, I wonder, and not keep the original? Things I would love to know. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I mean, it's a really pretty palette. It's very rosy, kind of on the cooler tone side, but I love the shades in here. And of course, you get the iconic double-ended brush. But let me know, do you still have your Naked palette? Let me know if you do, because I still to this day regret decluttering mine. A few years ago, I must have done that my first year on YouTube. I can't remember, but I got rid of it and I should not have. But I'm gonna start with this cream shade down here. This one is called Strange. It's been a while since I've used a Naked palette, so I don't really remember the formula that well. There's a lot of kick up in the pan with this shade, but I'm just gonna kind of put that all over, set that paint pot down. I'll be curious to see how these shadows perform, because I feel like in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, eyeshadows have just improved so much that you really don't find too many bad eyeshadow formulas anymore. So this formula's been around a long time, so I'm curious how it will compare. All right, now I'm gonna go into this shade right here called Limit. It's kind of a taupe, a little bit of a rosy taupe. I'm gonna use this brush, the 212 from BK Beauty. I just washed all my brushes yesterday, so they're all nice and clean, which is amazing. So I'm gonna apply this in my crease. These shadows are definitely a little bit more on the powdery side, but like this shade is blending really nicely. I mean, it's not going on patchy at all. It's very smooth. All right, now I'm gonna go into one of the shimmer shades in here. I might do this one right here, which is Trick. It's kind of a rose gold color, kind of pink, kind of gold. It looks like it has gold and pink shimmer in it. So I'm gonna go into this shade and I'm gonna attempt to use the other end of this brush that comes, but it might work better with my finger, I don't know. I won't get a ton of payoff like that, so let me try going in with my finger. Yeah, I feel like your finger definitely applies it a bit better. So I'm just packing that all over my lid. All right, let's go. I want to add a little bit of a darker shade in the outer corner. I'm gonna go into this shade up here called Factory. This one's kind of a bronze, kind of a bronzy gray. I'm gonna use a brush with this because I'm not gonna use my finger for where I want to apply this. Just gonna softly apply a little bit of this in my outer corner. So that shade applied well actually with a brush. Go back in with the crease brush and kind of blend it just a little. I wonder if this formula from Urban Decay has ever been like updated at all, or if it's the same exact formula. I would be curious to know. I do have the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette, and I do still have that palette. That palette's been out for a long time, but not as long as these original Naked palettes, but I do really like the Naked Honey palette. I feel like, has that been discontinued now? Why are they discontinuing these Naked palettes? I don't understand. I feel like Urban Decay could have like a resurgence if they brought back the original Naked palette and just improve the formula a bit, maybe updated the color story just slightly, but I don't know. I feel like they could have a really big like resurgence if they brought that palette back. I don't know, maybe not, but I have a feeling that would do well. Okay, for the lower lash line, I'm gonna use, I think I might take this shade, Liar, right here. I might end up using the same shade that I use in the outer corner. I have to say, I was just looking up close at my under eyes and I don't even have very much fallout, which I'm kind of surprised by. Because these shadows do have a lot of kick up like in the pan, but then I don't have a lot of fallout on my face, which is good. All right, I want to do a little bit of liner, but I'm going to use the palette. I'm just going to go into this shade here, which is Dark Side. There is this one up here, Dark Heart. Maybe I'll mix a little bit of both shades. Dark Heart has some shimmer in it. Dark Side looks to be more of a matte shade, so I guess I'll just dip into both. And of course, I'm using my 208 brush from BK Beauty. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of a wing like I normally do. Do you guys have an eyeliner that's been around for a long time that you can think of? Because I couldn't think of one, but I'm guessing there's something that I'm just not thinking of, so let me know if you can think of an eyeliner that's been around. All right, definitely did have some fallout from those two darker shades, so I just had to try to clean it up. So just keep that in mind. Maybe this might be one, if you're using the darker shades, do your eyes first. But overall, pretty happy with this eye look. Let's move on to mascara. The mascara that I thought of was Too Faced Better Than Sex. But again, I know there are tons of others that have been around a long time. This is just the only one that I owned that I would consider a classic, but I know there's a lot of them. There's a lot of drugstore mascaras that are classics. I don't have a black Better Than Sex. I only have the brown one. The brown one is a new shade, so this shade is not technically like an OG, but the mascara formula is. I do like this mascara. I like it mainly because they've made it in brown now. I don't know that I love the original, just the black version, but I do like that they made it in brown. It's a nice shade of brown. All right, last for the lips. The lip liners that I think of are definitely MAC lip liners. The two that I have are not the colors I would really pick to go with this makeup, but I have Cork and I have Stripdown. I used to have Whirl. Whirl is the one I would probably use if I had it, but I do not. So we'll probably just use Stripdown today. Cork is a bit more brown than this one, so we'll go with this. When I think of classic lip liners, I always think of MAC, but let me know if there's another one that you can think of. Actually, I think the first ever lip liner that I bought was Whirl from MAC. A little on the brown side for this, but that's okay. MAC lip liners I still really like. I kind of want to buy a new Whirl now that I think about it, but I like Stripdown too. It's nice. Okay, for lipstick, again, I think of MAC. I pulled out Modesty and Honeylove. I'm thinking I'm gonna do Honeylove for this. So this is Honeylove. I feel like these two will be good together. I want a little more pink, I think, so let's add a little bit of Modesty too. Modesty is a little bit more of a rosy color. Those two actually look pretty good mixed together. All right, and then last but not least, I pulled out a MAC lip gloss because I feel like these are also OGs. I pulled out the shade, or this is the only one I have, in the shade Please Me. Oyster Girl, I think, was one that was really popular. All right, you guys, that is it for today's video. What do you think of the final look? I mean, honestly, I still really like all of these products. Even the Naked 3 palette, this is nice. Is it like a really exciting, new, innovative formula with all the different finishes and glossy finish and sheen and wet? Is it all of that? No, but it's still good. It's still nice. The only issue I had with this was the dark shades do have some fallout, so be careful with those. But overall, I mean, it's a beautiful rosy neutral palette. The shades performed really well. I had no issues blending. I like it, I have to say. The foundation is beautiful, the concealer, the bronzer, the blush, even this lip combo. I'm actually glad I put all these together because I actually really like all 4 of those products together. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you own any of these products, what you think of them, and just what you think of in general when you think of a classic makeup product. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching. I will have everything linked below for you. I do use affiliate links that support my channel, So thank you so much if you choose to use them. I hope you'll subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.